This year's Leil Nishmas of Imoiri, Menachem ben Akiva, Ruth bas Sholem, Aviva bas Moshe. We are in the Amud Yomi Shiur. We welcome everybody here in Avas Shalom and in Torah Anytime and a YouTube channel. We are learning in Daf Kuf Tes Vov Amud Aleph. Kuf Tes Vov Amud Aleph. We're in the bottom of the page in the Mishnah. We are learning about the halachas of taking collateral. Yeah, one is not allowed to take collateral from a friend unless there are many conditions. Which means, let's say somebody borrowed money from you, you are the lender, the person who borrowed money does not pay you on time, yeah? At that happy moment or unhappy moment when it doesn't pay you, you want to pressurize him and take something, or for security, you take an item from his hands. So then, what do we say? There are a few prohibitions. Prohibition number one, we said, prohibitions I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm not saying about the fact that you have to give it back every night, which you've seen before. If it's a night item that his only pajamas, let's say. There are also prohibitions. For example, if the person is an almono, the person is a widow, we said you're not allowed to collateralize a widow, a woman whose husband died, a widow. You're not allowed to take collateral from her, whether she's rich or poor, because, and that's halacha. The halacha is whether rich or poor, you can't take a collateral from the almana, even shliach bezdin, because people are going to talk that, every night you take the item from her, then it doesn't look good. Although it doesn't apply by no, apparently human nature is human nature, and people are going to talk that if the man comes to her every night with an item, it looks a bit, off or suspicious. So even if she's rich and you don't give her the item because she has many night dresses, so we don't have to give her every night, still halacha is halacha, and that was one opinion, and that's halacha. Another Isser is an Isser we're going to see now, and that is the following Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, Achoyvel esarichaim. The Torah says, let me read through the pasuk inside before we start the Mishnah. Lo yachvel rechaim v'rechev kinefeshu choyvel, which means a person who wants to go to his friend's house and he wants to take an item called rechaim. What's rechaim? Millstone, grinding stone. Back then, the millstone, the grinding stone, was something very basic. You're not allowed to take that from the person whatsoever. In other words, whether it's rich or poor, and listen carefully to what I'm telling you before we start the Mishnah. Even if the person has 5 sets of rechaim, and he uses all of them every once in a while, one for wheat, one for barley, one big one small one, although he has extra ones, because this is something essential for a person's life, he needs to make his daily bread, therefore you're not allowed to take it. This Isser has many details, but we're just starting off, I'm setting you off. Says the Mishnah, in other words, a person who actually went to someone's house. Now, if he came to the house and took something without permission of the owner, there's already a law of lotachbo. You're not allowed to barge in, you have to stay outside. You came into the house, you're over one Isser, but we don't discuss that now. The discussion is the fact that the item you chose was an item called rechaim, which is a millstone, the grinding stone. It's a loy ta'aseh. And what's the punishment of the person? Malchus. Malchus. You took the rechaim of the person as what? As mashkoin? You're going to go to Bezdin, he'll claim against you. There were edim, and what? And then you'll get your lashes. V'chayv mishum shnei kelim. Ooh, that's a big chiddush of the Mishnah. There are 2 separate lavim. Because the millstone has 2 parts, and both parts are mentioned in the Torah separately, shenemar, lo yachbel rechaim v'rechev. Let me explain to you something in Hebrew. Rechaim v'rechev, what's rechaim? Rechaim is the bottom stone of the millstone, the big round one. The smaller round one, is called rechev, like leharkiv, lirkov, on top, the one riding on top. Rechaim v'rechev. So now, because the Torah wrote specifically rechaim v'rechev, instead of just saying what? Rechaim, which means, the word rechaim means 2 things. Either rechaim means the entire set together, right? Rechaim means the top and the bottom. The millstone, one second. It's a 2-piece item. Rechaim either refers to the entire 2-piece item together, or if you detail and you say rechaim v'rechev, then rechaim refers to the lower one and rechev the top one. Since the Torah took care, and the Torah specifically outlined and mentioned rechaim verechev, then each and every one you chayv separately. Ve'lo ta'aseh, yeah, right? Okay, which means you chayv mishum shnei kelim. You chayv two sets of malchus for both sides. 39 malchus for the bottom, 39 for the top if you took both of them. And we don't view it as one kli, we view it as two kelim because the Torah took care and made sure to specify and speak out the bottom and the top. Each one is a separate isur, rechaim v'rechev. So that is the first part of the Mishnah. What do you do if you did take it? Will be discussed later. Now, not only rechaim v'rechev alone, that's not the only item that you're not allowed to take. If you heard the posuk that I told you before, the posuk says don't take rechaim or rechev and or rechev, yeah, the top one, because you are stealing, you're taking away your friend's soul, you're taking away your friend's livelihood. Here comes, therefore, it's not only rechaim, but anything of oichel nefesh is what? Also including in the Isser. For example, I'm giving an example everyone agrees on. Let's say a pot. The person has a pot, the person has a knife, and he needs that in order to eat oichel, food, to keep body and soul together, as my father used to say. Yeah, you have the pot, you have the pan, you have things that are necessary items for food. If you took those items, you're chayv on each and every one. Why? Because that's the greater Isser mentioned at the end of the pasuk of anything of oichel nefesh, anything that creates food. That's a huge machlokas rishonim now. What's a big machlokas rishonim, which I will mention as we go along? Machlokas rishonim is about what happens if the person has something that needs for his livelihood, for his professional life. For example, Gemara will mention later misparaim, scissors. If you're a barber, you need your scissors. Yeah, the shaver, he's a barber, the borrower, and you took his scissors or you took his whatever shaver today. What are you chayav? Machlokas rishonim. Rashi says oichel nefesh means anything that you need for your livelihood, not only things that are for the food itself, but also things that are for your livelihood to make a living. For example, we mentioned before, if you remember the machresha, the plow. I need a plow to live. How do you live if you don't plow your field? Tosfos argues vehemently, and Tosfos says no. Tosfos says oichel nefesh means only things that are for the body itself, things you eat with, you drink with. Here we have oichel nefesh right over here, and let's say even the machresha, then. Yeah, Tosfos spoke, the Gemara then says, Magrefa, Tosfos says it's something you scratch your back, which is necessary. You need it for your own body, but it's not something you make money from. This is Tosfos' definition. I'll tell you right now that Shulchan Aruch supports Tosfos. Shulchan Aruch says, Oichel Nefesh is only something for the food itself, only for food mamish. Yeah, okay. That is our Mishnah. Now, let me ask you a question. I'm confused. What's the difference between this oichel nefesh business and the pillow and the sheet? Yeah, the one pillow the poor man has, or the one blanket. What's the difference between this and oichel nefesh? Well, what's the big news over here? What's the difference? There are a few differences. Difference number one: if the person I took his one and only pillow and he's a poor man, there's no isser in that. There's no prohibition. Elamai, I have to make sure to give it back to him every night. By the way, night, I'm just paying some debts from yesterday. Night doesn't mean shkia or tzeis. It's not the litvish halachika time. It means when he goes to sleep. You know that poor man in the modern world, most people don't go to sleep shkia unless you're South African, yeah? But most people go to sleep, I don't know, 10, 11, I don't know, maybe you earlier, yeah? In other words, people go to sleep. So if you know that the poor man goes to sleep until 10, you have to give him pajama back at 10. But there's no issa for taking the pajama, yeah? Unless you barged in, yeah, whatever, that's another shaila. Now, another difference. Let's say the poor man, I don't know if he's poor or rich, let's say he's poor, he has 5 different pillows. That's one thing he's a lot. He splurges on pillows, he likes pillows. Sometimes he uses a blue one, sometimes a green one, sometimes he uses the, I don't know, one for day, one, whatever, he has different ones. He has 5 pillows, no problem to take what? 1 or 2 pillows, keneged my money that he owes me, and not give it back to him. He has 3 other pillows to sleep every night, right? What's the problem? And that's halacha, as far as I know. Mashe'en can listen carefully to Shulchan Aruch. Everything I'm telling you Shulchan Aruch. I've been through the Shulchan Aruch, I mean, more or less. If the person is oichel nefesh, which means the person is, like in the modern world, how many milchig and inflation pots do you have? More than one, I hope, yeah? you have, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 of each, right? One for the small, big, for Shabbos, for this, yeah, for the cholent, for the kishkis. Yeah, so now, let's say the person has 5 pots, which are all at use sometimes. None of them are allowed to take. Because the fact that it's oichel nefesh is a prohibition by itself. Unless you know, says Shulchan Aruch, that he only uses one and the other 4 are stam, they sit in his house for 20 years without doing anything. From these things, you clean them from Pesach to Pesach and never use them. Yeah, so let's say that one pot he has, you're allowed to take the rest. But otherwise, if he sometimes uses all 5 red milk fleshy pots, you're not allowed to take any of them because of Echel Nefesh, unless he agrees. If he on his own will, yeah, he took it out for you, and he actually gave you the oichel nefesh, then it's okay. But unless it's done mamish by his initiative, or at least strong consent, then it's not allowed. That is one clear difference between the two things. Okay? Here it's about the pillow. I'm allowed to take pillows. It's not oichel nefesh or a blanket or whatever he needs. That's a need, but it's not oichel nefesh. According to Toyses, it's not something you eat with or you mamish, yeah, or it's not, let's say, according to Rashi, something you make living from. I'm allowed to take it. Elamai, I'll give it back every night. The oichel nefesh is a specific prohibition, not only prohibition that carries with it malchus. You get lashes if you actually if you took it away from him, you chayev the malchus. You chayev malchus, and what? Because the Torah specified rechaim v'rechev, both items, so it's a 2 set items, you chayev on each one, and it's not only berechaim v'rechev. Let's say the Gemara will bring down later on a brisa that talks about other utensils that are a 2-piece thing. Yeah, you also have on each and every piece separately. Let's see what the Gemara says. Before we continue the Gemara, let's just realize that this pasuk that we just mentioned is very easy. It has 3 parts: 1 detail, 2nd detail, and a general rule. Rechaim, right? That's 1 part, the bottom part. Don't take that. Rechev, the top part. And the 3rd part is a general idea, anything that he needs to make food, right? Such as rechaim, pots, pans, saucers, and saucers, whatever. Yeah. Says the Gemara. Now we're going to see an interesting machlokes based on what I just told you. Omar Ravuna, machlokes Ravuna and Rav Yuda. Says Ravuna, chovel rechaim. Let's say a person was chovel the rechaim, which means he took the rechaim. First of all, the fact he took it means is over on you're not allowed to go into his house and take. We'll leave that alone. That's not the issue now. Chovel rechaim loike shtaim. Rechaim here means what? The bottom part. He only took the bottom part. You loike because of 2 averos. You committed 2 sins. Why? Mishum rechaim. There's a prohibition. Don't take rechaim. Umishum kinefesh uchoivel. What does that mean? The fact that there's a general isser on this is, if you listen to this, you get the whole sugya. Since the general isser, the 3rd one, came at the end of the pasuk and told you anything of oichel nefesh, that throws back, reflects back on both items, and each one of the items, if you took it, you have 2 lavim. 1 specific lav of rechaim, and if it was rechev, the one of rechev, plus the general isser of any oichel nefesh goes back on each and every one. So if you took rechaim, you have 2 isurim, specific and general. You took the rechev, you have 2 isurim, the specific one and the general one. And what happens if rechaim verechev? You took both items, the whole thing, shebang, whoop. You took the bottom and the top, loike shalosh. You loike 3 times 39. Not worth it. Why? Mishum rechaim, 1. Verechev, 2. Mishum kinefesh uchoivel. In other words, the general prohibition is always added to the specific prohibitions. That's what we say. Rechaim is 1. Yeah, the rechev is 1. And each and every one is also the general prohibition of nefesh. Let me give you an example from modern day world. I don't know if people are connecting here. I hope you are. Let's say you go to the dietitian, you made a Kabbalah Yom Kippur, it'll be nice and slim and amazing, yeah. And you went to the dietitian and he or she told you, we're gonna fight your bad habits of drinking soft drinks, very unhealthy Coke and Sprite. So I'm telling you, every time you drink Coke, don't drink Sprite, and don't drink any fizzy drinks. And if you do, you pay the Kupat Cholim or Tzedakah 50 shekels each. Now I drank the Coke. Ooh, and I have to admit to the dietitian. Question is, do I pay 50 shekels or 100 shekels? I drank Coke. That's 1 Isser. But also at the end, she told me, don't drink fizzy drinks, which is a general Isser. Do we say fizzy drinks is an extra thing? Or do we say no? Coke is Coke, and Coke is also a fizzy drink. So maybe there are two prohibitions. That's a machlokes here. Rav Huna says yes. When you took the rechaim, you chayv on rechaim, and also the general issur of oichel nefesh. Yeah, same thing about the top part. That's the opinion of Rav Huna. However, Rav Yudah Imar, no, Rav Yudah says no. Chovel rechaim loike achas. If you took the rechaim, you chayv only one, not two. Why? Because you not chayv, the general prohibition does not reflect back on the specific item. The rechev loike achas. You took the top part, you chayv only one. Rechaim v'rechev, you took both. Well, loike shtayim. 1 + 1 = 2. What's the chiddush? We do not add the third one. I kinefesh uchoyvel, but it says kinefesh uchoyvel. All the soft drinks. Kinefesh uchoyvel means the general one. Yes, the sha'at dvarim would also. Of course, the pasuk is coming to tell me, don't confiscate from your friend's house other items that are oichel nefesh, pots, pens, according to Rashi, scissors, and a computer. You make living from computer like 90% of the world. Yeah. So those things are separate. Rechaim alone, rechev alone, one per each. And nefesh uchoyvel, no. In our case of the dietitian, no. She meant to tell you Coke, 50 shekels, Sprite, 50 shekels, and other fizzy drinks, I don't know, lemon lime or bitter ale, whatever, that's a separate, but it doesn't reflect back to the specific ones. That's machlokes Rav Huna and Rav Yudah. Okay, do we take back the general issur and throw back and add more malchus to the specific ones? Yes or no? Very good. Rav Huna says yes, we add. Rav Yudah says we don't add that. Oh, very nice. So today we're going to finish the parak, Be'ezras Hashem. We will, Be'ezras Hashem. Yes, we can, Be'ezras Hashem. Then Kuftes Bava Amud Beis, and we're going to make it all the way to Kuftes Zayin Amud Aleph. Now the Gemara is going to try to compare, and fail. The Gemara is going to reject the idea. Yeah, the Gemara is going to compare what? This machlokes, the machlokes in Psachim regarding Korban Pesach. So before we continue, let me give you a small introduction. I'll stop the recording for a second. Korban Pesach, b'mheira b'yameinu amen, will be eating Korban Pesach. How is the Korban Pesach meat supposed to be eaten? Cooked, roasted, only roasted, very good. Only roasted. The Torah says in Mefurish Pasuk, the Pasuk says that lo tochlu mimenu na, you're not allowed to eat it. Prohibition number 1, don't eat it na. What's na? Raw. Uboshel muvushel b'mayim, don't eat it cooked with water. Cooked means cooked in water. How should we eat it? Ki im tzli esh kirba v'kov. However, only tzli esh, only roast, only a roast. Roast may also be fried, stir fried, whatever. Not stir fried actually, because you're not supposed to cut it small at the beginning. Yeah, lo meshane. The kids say you're not supposed to eat it raw. That's prohibition number 1. Not supposed to eat it cooked. Prohibition number 2. And then comes a general picture. You know how you should eat it, and if you're not, you're over an issur. Don't eat it in any form except for roast, which automatically includes already raw or cooked. So again, we have the same pattern, similar pattern to psukim, specific, and general. Oh, so we're going to make a shidduch here. Says the Gemara, shidduch between the sugyas. Right. We don't, it's not klal u'patu, right? It's not, don't go there. It's not the issue here, but nice. Zog the Gemara. Leima Abai v'Rove. Let us assume that Abai v'Rove beplukta the Rav Huna v'Rav Yudah kamiflagi. Which Abai and Rove we're going to see soon. Abai and Rove had an argument regarding the person who eats Korban Pesach the wrong way. Let us assume the Gemara wants to suggest Machlokes Abai v'Rove is the same as Machlokes Rav Huna and Rav Yudah, which we just saw now. Kamiflagi. What's Machlokes Abai and Rove? We're going to see now. Doma Rove. Ochal na. A person on Leil Pesach, unfortunately, b'mezid, he thought he's a smarty pants. I'm going to have my Korban Pesach my way, not like the Torah. Chas v'sholom. So how did he eat it? He ate it raw on purpose. He ate it raw. The Korban Pesach, you know, it's very much in style, right? All these things. How's it called? Carpaccio, it's called, yeah. Ochal na, yeah, carpaccio, raw meat. Like you have sushi by fish. You have raw meat called carpaccio, I think. Yeah, you have ceviche, all kinds of things like that. Very much in fashion. The kids are, yeah. The Rav Huna, we live in an interesting world. So now, ochal na, a person who ate raw piece of kazais of Korban Pesach, like time, 2 sets of malchus he gets. Why 2? Specific and general. Mishum na, no, obviously, the prohibition of don't eat raw. Umishum, the end of the pasuk is a general one. Umishum ki im tzli esh mevusha ki im tzli esh. Period. Yeah, tzli esh. Do not eat anything that's not tzli. Well, if it's not tzli, it's not tzli. He did not roast it; he kept it raw. So there are two prohibitions: the specific and the general. At the end of the pasuk, yeah, mevushal. Let's say he cooked it in water. He likes it cooked in water. Loikesh time is chayiv two sets of malchus. Obviously, you know which ones. Mishum mevushal, the specific one of don't eat it cooked. Umishum ki im tzli esh. Very good. Also, the general is, sir, don't eat anything that is not tzli esh, that is not roasted. The Kitzur Rova seems to be a friend of who? Of Rav Huna, right? You chayiv both. The specific and the general, the soft drinks apply to the coke. Now, not umevusha, that smart guy, smart Alec, what did he do? He ate one kazais of raw and noch one kazais of cooked, lucky boy. Loike shalosh, he's chayiv three sets of malkias, mishum na, umishum mevusha, umishum lo tuchlenu ki im tzli esh. Yeah, chayiv three. You ate raw, you ate cooked, and you ate anything that is not roasted, which is the general one. So that's Rava. That's Rava. Abai Omar. Abai says no. And loikin alav shebeklolos. Abai says no. There's a rule by me, says Abai. You're not loike on a lav that is general. A lav that is just coming to tell you a general prohibition without being specific, and the specifics were already mentioned, meaning mevushal and were mentioned already. That general one does not yield, so to speak, does not make you get another set of malchus. This is Abaye. Oh, lema. The shidduch seems to be perfect. Let us assume Abaye domer Rav Yehuda. Abaye seems to be in Rav Yehuda's team, right? You have a specific isur and a general one. Only the specific one applies and not the general. Abaye spoke about meat and Pesach, and Rav Yehuda spoke about Rechaim Berechev, a guy who snatches the Rechaim, the millstone from his friend. Says Rav Yehuda, there's only one on the top, one on the bottom, no general isur. The Amri, Verova Doma Ravuna. And Rova seems to be like Ravuna. The what? Ravuna says you're all going to have both. You're going to have both isurim, the specific and the general. So it seems to be, which is not a problem. You could say Rova and Abai argue with the same as Ravuna and Rav Yehuda, but apparently it's simply not true. The Gemara now will reject this idea, and the Gemara will basically disconnect the two machlokesim of Abai and Rava and Ravuna and Rav Yehuda in a very interesting way. Before we continue, just a little bit of the bashkafa here, so people realize what the reason is. Maybe would be zoiche soon. Why is it really they were supposed to eat korban pesach roasted and not cooked or raw? Because that's the royal way. I saw it in few meforshim. Yeah, you can say to your children and grandchildren, Leila Seder. The idea is because even today you go to a restaurant, I'm not such a big, I'm saying, you go a steak, usually roasted, is more fine than cooked meat. You can, different taste, but the way of the Torah, roasted is considered to be more elegant and more royal, more regal than something cooked in a pot in water. That's definitely better than raw. Yeah. Okay, before we came to all these crazy fashions, but that's basically the idea. But we are still in the middle of the sugya. We right now are about to explain why Rava and Abaya are one kind of machlokas, while Ravuna and Rav Yehuda are saying something else. Outwardly, they look the same logic, same thing. Now the Gemara is going to actually differentiate between them and discern. Okay, it's okay for questions now. I'm listening. Yeah. Okay, so now after some very interesting questions and answers, basically I want to add two things. First of all, it's true what you were saying. Roast is cleaner. Roast is something, the water, the reason why you need to kasher meat before you cook it, and you don't have to kasher meat, only very little before you roast it, is because the water runs back and forth and continues and recycles itself through the body of the meat with all the schmutz and all the things. Mashenken roast is clean, all the bad stuff goes out and only the meat itself is there. It's cleaner and more pure. And the second thing we said is, again, about the idea of general and specific. Everybody agrees that you like it because of the specific item of Rechaim and Rechev, because specific is always stronger than general. And Mechlokes of Ravuna and Rav Yehuda, do you also get malchus for the general? The specific, of course. Anyway, let's now divorce Ravuna and Rav Yehuda from Abai and Rove. Omar Rove. Let's start with Rove. Says Rove, Ano the Amri Afiluk Rav Yehuda. What I say, even Rav Yehuda will agree with me. Even Rav Yehuda, who regarding the Rechaim Rechev said you only look at one per each and not two, he would agree with me that in Pesach you should be loike too. Why? Ad kan lo kama Rav Yehuda Hosom. Rav Yehuda only said what he said over there regarding Rechaim v'Rechev. Ela dechi nefesh u'choivel lo mashma. I would add mi Rechaim v'Rechev, which means let's say the Torah would have only told you don't take Rechaim v'Rechev. Would you automatically know that other items that are necessary you're not allowed to take? Maybe, maybe not. You'd say maybe it can derive from that infer, maybe not. Maybe the Gzeras HaKosuv on the Rechaim v'Rechev, like Almono, yeah? And therefore, the second posuk of what? Hilkach, why did the Torah add the last part of the posuk, which is the general one, Oichel Nefesh, L'sh'ar dvorim hu de'oso? Of course, says Rav Yehuda, the second part of the posuk has nothing to do with the first part. The first one is Rechaim, right? And then, I don't know about pots and pans, definitely not about the scissors of the barber. The Torah has to tell me that for that. So who says it reflects back on them, right? Mapitom. That's, you're happy now. Coke is one thing. Let's say the dietitian told you, don't drink Coke, don't drink Sprite. If you want to be smart, you say, oh, but I'm going to drink the Kinley, I don't know, the orange one, yeah? Of course, it's stupid. Maybe Coke is worse and Sprite is worse. I don't know. She's a dietitian. She knows better, yeah? I would drink the rest. When she told me not other fitted drinks, it's only for them. But it doesn't reflect back on the Coke. It's three separate things. 1, 2, 3. Each one lives separately. Aval hocho. But regarding Pesach, think about it. Ki im tzli eish lemai also. Why did the Torah have to repeat and tell me tzli eish? If I already know from the Torah, don't eat it raw. Don't eat it cooked. So why does the Torah again have to tell me don't eat it unless it's roasted? I know it already. Yeah, it's a negative side of the same thing, right? In other words, if I know not to eat raw and not to eat cooked, mimela I know that roasted is fine. I'm supposed to get it by injection. Yeah, of course. In other words, it's completely redundant. I already know not to eat anything but roasted because the other options are already all canceled. Shma mina lelav must be. It's redundant. We love redundant psukim. What does a redundant pasuk tell you of? Don't eat it unless it's roasted. What? To give you an add an extra iser on the cooked and on the raw. Because otherwise it's a redundant pasuk. It's only coming to tell me, yeah, them. Imagine yourself, the only soft drinks in the world would be Coke and Sprite, nothing else. And she tells me Coke, Sprite, and other and fizzy drinks. What do you mean? And there are no other fizzy drinks. Must be she's just telling me an extra 50 shekels on the Coke and the Sprite. Of course, you can ask a question now, by the way, which may run through your mind. Maybe there's a third kind of cooking, maybe stir fry, maybe other things. Choices. Rashi says something interesting. Rashi says the only three types of cooking halachically, the only three types of eating, either raw or cooked or roasted. See, if, you can argue, I know, you can say maybe the other things, maybe frying is considered to be part of roasting and cooking is the sauteing. I don't know. Steaming, stewing. I know about all that a little bit from my wife. Over here, all these interesting words which I have no idea what they are. Just know it tastes very nicely. Yeah. So, yeah. You don't need to cook, no. So, she's a wise woman. She doesn't allow me into the kitchen. So I know I'm online. It's okay. So basically, the idea is like this. Let's imagine a world like Rashi says. There's only three options: cooked, raw, or roasted. Let's just accept that these are the halachic three major things. Mimela, right? That's it. If the Torah told me, don't eat it raw, don't eat it cooked, I know I'm going to eat it how? Roasted. It's the only way. It's tzli. Mimela, the word tzli is redundant, only coming to add that what? There will be an extra set of malchus in each one. And even Rav Yehuda would agree with me. Choices does mention, by the way, and it goes into interesting explanation. Even back then, there was another form of cooking which was considered as a separate one. That's cooking lechamit tveria. Let's say somebody cooked something and put it in the hot springs of Tiberias, which halachically is not called cooking necessarily. It's a question in Shabbos Daf Mem and Mem Aleph. So it's simple because it's natural. It's cooked by natural heat, like hot springs. The Tosfos deals with that and it says really just the Rabbanon. That's a separate discussion. Abaye Omer Lecho. Now, how does Abaye divorce himself of the Mechlokes? Anodam Rafilo Lo Avuna. Says Abaye, no, everyone would agree with me. Even Rav Huna would agree with me. Even Rav Huna, that there by Rechaim Berechem, he added an extra Isser Kloli, the general Isser on the specific ones. Here, when it comes to Pesach, he would agree with me. Why? He would agree with me that what? there's only one Isser per each and no more. Why? At kan lo kama Ravuna hosom. Ravuna only said what he said over there, that you have an extra Isser. Ela de nefesh uchoyvel, the word nefesh uchoyvel, yetera, yetera, it's an extra, yetera hu, it's an extra word, an extra posuk. What's the extra posuk coming to tell me? Yeah, like my colleague was saying, he would tell you, it's coming to tell you other things of Eichel Nefesh, right? Rechaim, Rechev, and what's the third party? Anything that's Eichel Nefesh, pots, pans, frying, cooking, whatever. Kevin de tell Shadia Rechaim Rechev. This is just what I told you. Once you have the posuk, the general one, that comes to add all other Eichel Nefesh things, yeah, whatever, the pot and the cup and the plate, we throw it back, we reflect it back on Rechaim Berechev, and we say there is Rechaim, Rechev, and the general. But guess what? The specific ones are also part of the general. Coke and Sprite are fizzy drinks in our moshel. Aval hocho, now comes the base punchline. Over here, ki'im tzli esh, the words ki'im tzli esh, lav yeserahu, it's not an extra word. The words imtzli esh is not extra like my friend Rova was saying. No. The words kim slash, they're coming to teach me something completely different. There's a whole new limud, a whole new halacha. We learn from the general isur of tzli. It's not stam coming to add general isurim. What is it? The mibayle, we need it. Look at the Tanya. It says in the Brisa like this. Bishah, I'll ask you a question. What happens if a person eats Korban Pesach before its time? He couldn't resist. Yeah, it's Erev Pesach afternoon. They shechted the korban already. If it's not Shabbos, they took the Pesach home, unless it's Shabbos they don't, but it's not. Regular Erev Pesach. What do you have to do? Wait, like a good boy, wait until nighttime. When does Leila Seder start, or the real halachic Leila Seder Beis HaMikdash, when you eat the korban Pesach? Night, of course by night. Yeah, we all know that. You have to wait extra late, right? And this guy ate it before the time. Okay. What? Oh, he didn't fulfill the mitzvah. Now, what happened if he ate it raw or ate it cooked before the time? That's a question. Says the Torah. What do you think? Is he chayav malchus? No. Let's see. Says the Brisa. Why does the Torah add the prohibition ki'im tzli esh b'shah sheyeshnu bekum echol tzli? The Torah wanted to juxtapose the isurim of eating raw and eating cooked to the mitzvahs asay, the positive commandment of eating it roasted. When are you commanded? When are you asked to eat it? What? Roasted by night. Oh, so listen to this. At the time when you're supposed to kum, to get up, meaning to do something positive and eat it tzli and eat it roasted, meaning by night, then yeshnu bebal toichel na. Then if you ate it raw, Malchus. But if you ate it at the time when you're not supposed to eat it, you ate it too early, before you're supposed to eat it tzli. By day, you're not supposed to eat it at all, not tzli and not shli. No. Then there's no prohibition of eating it raw or eating it cooked, which means, let's revise. Says Abaye, listen, even though usually Rav Yehuda and Rav Huna may argue about general isurim, not general isurim, that is when the extra pasuk, not the extra, the end of the pasuk, the general part of the pasuk, yeah, is there to tell me something to add more items, right? Yeah, to add all kinds of oichel nefesh, pots and pans and scissors, yeah. Then we say, rechaim verechev are also thrown in. But here, no, the third part of the pasuk is not adding anything. It's telling me a specific halacha. It's teaching me a detail in the halacha. It's teaching me what? That if the person ate the korban pesach the wrong way, cooked or raw, but he didn't eat it the right time, he ate it in a time when anyhow is not supposed to eat it, then he's not chayav. That's why we juxtaposed cooked and raw to tzli, to tell you only of the time of tzli, the time you're supposed to eat it tzli, and you went the reverse, you went the other way, you ate it the wrong form, the wrong way, then you chayiv. Otherwise, you're not chayiv. So then, even says Abai, in that case, both Rav Yehuda and Rav Huna, everyone would agree with me about Pesach, because there it's not the same pattern at all. It's not the Coke and Sprite and thing. No, she's telling me don't drink Coke and Sprite by night because it's unhealthy. She's giving me a detail how not to drink the Coke and the Sprite. It's not adding anything at all. It's not adding not even one item. It's not a general isser. It's not a general isser. It's time coming to tell me a detail. That's all. That's how I views it. And let's listen to both British people put their hand together. Okay. Tanya Kavosida of Yuda. Comes a brisa to give support to Rav Yuda. We're going to see two brises. The way I'm going to read the brises, I'm going to follow the way of Tosfos. Okay? And we still have to finish the Amud. There's a question in between Rashi and Tosfos. I'm not going there. If you want, you can look at it later yourselves. Tanya Kavosida of Yuda. The brisa, we're going to see two brises who followed, who support, who endorse the opinion of Rav Yuda. What did Rav Yuda say? How many Isurim are you chayav at the end of the day? Let's say you took the Rechaim and the Rechev. 2 or 3? 2. Very good. Very good, Yosef. 2. Yeah, in other words, according to Rav Yuda, the general Isser does not reflect back on the specific ones. Tanya Kavosida of Yuda. Choval zug shel saporim. Here we are. Zug shel saporim, according to Rashi, here comes the machloikas. According to Rashi, zug shel saporim is what? The scissors of the barber. In modern day, scissors are always, hopefully, if they function well, it's always the two parts of the scissors, the two knives, the two blades are always together. In the times of the Gemara, that was not the case. The Gemara in Shabbos says each one was a knife, and sometimes they would attach them, and sometimes would detach them. Yeah, it was like a two-piece thing. Yeah, they would attach and detach as they would like, because sometimes you want to use it as a separate knife. They're not so rich, so sometimes you connect the two knives and use them like scissors, and sometimes you have them separate. That smells like rechaim, right? Rechaim, it's a modular thing. It's a two-piece item. Yeah. Now, obviously, Tosfos says, not agreeing with that. What Zug Shel Saporim says the Tosfos? It's misparaim to cut fruit or vegetables. Because Tosfos believes what's called oichel nefesh, only things to do with real livelihood, yeah, real physical need, like food. The tzemed shel poros. Tzemed shel poros, says Rashi, yeah, in order to live, you have to plow your field, right? You plow your field this morning, of course. Tzemed shel peres, yeah, shel poros, excuse me. The tzemed is the yoke. You have a yoke on top of your two cows, and you plow. Now you took both. You took the cow and the yoke. That's two pieces. You need the cow and you did the yoke, right? The tzemed doesn't mean two cows. Tzemed means that tzemed is the yoke of the cow on top of the cow, yeah. So it's a two, yeah, it's a two. The cow is not always with the yoke, sometimes no. And you took both from your borrower as a brutal way of taking the mashkoin, the what you owed. Chayev shtayim, you chayev two, only two. You took the two items, only two. You're not chayev a third one, right? You're not chayev a third one of kinefesh uchover. That's like Rav Yehuda. Ze be'atzmoi v'ze be'atzmoi. You took only one. You took only the cow, or you took only one knife, or only one blade of the scissors. En chayev elo achas. You only chayev one. Why? Because you took only one. And meaning, what's hovering here in the air? You do not see a third Isser, either one or two. No three. So that's like Rav Yehuda against Rav Huna. Betani idach, another brisa to support him. Chava zug shel saporim. The tzemed shel poros, same items, the scissors and the yoke of the cows. One would argue only one, because scissors is one item, and the cow and the yoke, yeah, it's one operation made by two pieces, maybe only one. Yeah, Talmud Loima, says the Torah, nice idea, but no, says the Torah. Lo yachbol rechaim, the rechev, right? The Torah didn't say don't take the rechaim, which is a general name for both pieces. Don't take the top part and the bottom part. The Torah gets very specific. Each one is a separate kli. They're not glued together. They have to be mobile, right? Yeah, obviously, at least the top one, right? The oisen melocha achas. Each one is a separate item, but they do one work together. One without the other won't work. The Torah specifically tells you, don't take the top, don't take the bottom. Coke, Sprite, each one separate malchus. I've called dvorim shen shnei kelim miyuchadin. Any other utensil that is made by two separate pieces, but they work together, you can't cut, nice hair nicely with just one. Yeah, I don't have much left. I know over here. Yeah, you can't cut it nicely because only if you have two together. One alone doesn't work. Very good. Now we're coming to, okay. So this seems to be like, by the way, I want to tell you something else interesting. Rechaim, if you remember from Bava Basra Perek Sheni, Yeah, rechaim. I don't know what kind of rechaim you have at home, but normally there are two types of rechaim. There are those that are attached to the ground, the big heavy ones, and there are the ones that are like hand rechaim. Yeah, like you have a hand blender. You know, you have like the big Metzia mix, the big food processor. They're the one who makes noise like your factory, and you have like the hand blenders. Yeah, yeah. Watch it from afar. So then what? So then in the times of the Gemara, you have rechaim that are attached to the ground, big store, big stuff, and you have the ones that are like by the hand. You grind by hand, you know, for your snack. So the ones you're not allowed to take are dafka the hand ones. The ones that are attached to the ground are like karka. And karka is all different halachas. Those halachas don't apply to karka. Yeah? And if you took them, if you detach them, there's no Easter. He has to give it back to him. Okay, now we're going to see what happens if you did take them. But there's a difference between the karka and the detached one. Like always, always, always in halacha. Here comes a whole new aspect on the sugya. Ahu Gavra, story with Mechloekes, another Mechloekes Abba and Rove. And Bezos Hashem, we'll finish the parak today. Questions are very welcome when we finish the parak, which is, if you have the Gemara, it's really only in a few lines. Ahu Gavra, there was a man, there was a person, the Choval Sakina da Ashkavta Michavri. A person took, against halacha, what's Sakina da Ashkavta? La Ashkiv could be like to kill. In other words, he was either a butcher or a shoichet, who the borrower, and the person, the lender, who got a little bit, antsy gutsy, all the nervous. What he took from him is something that's his livelihood, either the sakin shchita, the chalif, or the butcher's knife, the big one, the butcher's knife. Yeah, he took them. According to the Mukha Yosef, it says ashkafta with a fei, which is a shoemaker. Because he is on Rashi's team, they believe you don't eat shoes, right? But he believes that all your utensils you need for your livelihood, your professional tools, are also under the definition. So he says, if the guy was a sandler, he was a shoemaker, cobbler, and he used the knife to make shoes. That too, according to those Rishonim, you're not allowed to take. Shulchan Aruch paskins, like the more makel opinion, that the only things you're not allowed to take are food-related items, not professional tools. Professional tools you are allowed to take. By the way, professional tools you're allowed to take, but you have to give it to him back whenever he needs it. Like if it's the only one. Yeah, everyone agrees that's not a shaila, that if you did take, let's say, the shoemaker's knife or whatever, the scalpel, whatever he has over there, yeah, for sure you have to give it back to him when he needs it, if it's one and only that he has. The question is, is it doraisa by taking it? According to Rashi and the Mukha Yosef, yes. According to Yosef, no. Okay, now. Also, Kameda Abai. The Kitzer took that one knife, which was very important, and was Oichel Nefesh. Now he came to Abai. The one who took it came to Abai and asked, what can I do now? Did I do right? What do I do next? Omerle, Abai did not like that at all. Abai was pro the other side. Zil Ahadre, go back right now and give it back to him. Which means Abai believes that if you took the kli of Oichel Nefesh, return it to him right now. You have to return it to him right away, straight away. And interestingly, I'm adding halacha here. Shulchan Aruch says you only have to give it back to him when he needs it, back and forth. But don't give it back to him for life. Very interesting. That's Shulchan Aruch holds, like some Rishonim. Machlokes Rishonim. Some Rishonim say you give it back to him for always because you took it illegally. You're not allowed to touch it at all. And other Rishonim say the Shulchan Aruch follows them. No, you give it back to him when he needs to work and take it back when he finishes the shop. Now comes the interesting part. V'ta kum bedina Allah. Don't take the law into your hands. You want to take the money from him and he's not paying you money? Why doesn't he pay you money? Why doesn't he pay you money? Go take him to BSD and see what happens. If there are Eidim, says Rashi, if there are witnesses that you lent him money, the Eidim will force legally, right, him to pay the cash. That's the way to do it. If he admits, maybe he admits. Maybe he just doesn't have the cash right now. Calm down. Maybe he'll admit, you'll get the money. And if he denies, then he's going to be nish b'shvus eses, right? If somebody denies everything, shvus eses, these are the three options. The Kitzer, take the legal way and sue him to BSD. In other words, the Abai believes in what? Yeah? In other words, he has the money. You want to take the money? No. Give back the item. He'll have everything in himself. He'll be the owner, the holder of everything, the money and the knife and everything. You want to claim it away from him? There's a way to do it. That's the way to do that. And finished. Then take it, bring Eidim, If no edim, force him to take shvua, and finished. All very nice. Here comes the big machloekes, which is much more lomdus than everything we've learned till now. Rava says no. Lo tzorich lemikim b'din alo. No, the guy should keep it by him, and he does not need to take him to Beis Din. Who? The plaintiff, the malveh doesn't have to take him to Beis Din. Why? There is no moitzim chaveroi. Why? The yochalitoin ad kedei dmehen. Oh, here comes big fun. Let me explain to what Rabba says. Rabba says, remember our friend? Who's our friend from Mexico? Migo. Amigo. Migo is coming back to life towards the end of the Masechta. Let's say the knife says the name. Let's say the knife, yeah, the knife right now, I'm the malveh. This is, let's say, the knife, whichever knife that is. Yeah, it's in my hands, the knife of the shchita, right? And what? And I say, you owe me the money, give me back the money. I don't have to start groveling and going to Beis Din with Eidim the other way around. I'll take shvuah and I'll take it away from you. Why? Says Rav Amigo. Because I could say, you know this chalev? Let's say everybody knows this used to be yours, and let's say your initials are written there, Mr. Loive, ML, Mr. Loive. I could have said, I bought it from you. Let's say there are no Eidim that I snatched it from you. I would say, I bought it from you. Items, people don't have receipts on items, back then, yeah? And therefore what? It's mine. Since I could have said that this is mine and I'm holding it, right? That turns the tables. You have to prove you don't owe me. What does mean ad kedei dmehen? Let's say the milveh was 1,000 shekels and the knife is worth 800. Oh, 1,000 I can't take from you. But the worth of 800, I can say, listen to me. I don't have to bring proofs that the money is the money in your pocket is owed to me. No, because I could have said, Mister, this is mine. I bought it from you yesterday. People buy chalev knives, I'm a new sheichet maybe, or the thing, whichever knife. The fact, mimele by migo, I believe to say, since I could have said I bought it, I believe to say that I'm holding it as a collateral of 800, and you pay me 800 in order to get it back. Switch. That's Rava's idea. Rava is a big migo believer. What do you mean Rava believes in migo? What? Everyone believes in migo, specifically in this case. My shno, the Gemara wants to hammer in. Of course, Abaye should agree to Rava over here. Why? My shno, what's the difference between this case and another case we saw in Bava Basra? What was the other case in Bava Basra where both Abaye and Rava agreed to something similar over here? Mehanu easy. Once upon a time, there was a bunch of izim, of goats belonging to Reuven. The achli chushla ben Arda, the goats belonging to Reuven, they had a very nice feast. They were feasting and feasting, excuse the language, on the chushla, on the nice peeled barley grains of Shemen in the city of Nardo. The guy comes back to his granary. He worked so hard on his, beautiful barley, the barley grains, yeah? And the izim of the other guy, the mchutzef, ate it all up. And the izim owner seems not to be cooperating. I don't know what it was. He was saying, like, I don't know, animals' rights. These are I'm joking, I didn't say animals' rights, yeah? But how come they're eating the chushla? He got upset. The Osamar the chushla, the owner of the chushla, the owner of the barley, went and took the law into his hands. To be precise, he took the goats into his hands. The tofas lehu, he caught the goats themselves. Let's say the barley was worth, let's say, 1,000 shekels. I'm owed 1,000 shekels because your mechutzadik goats ate my barley. Oh, yeah, which is 1,000 shekels worth, yeah. He chapped his goats, yeah, that are worth, let's say, 2,000. Because in Tuva, it was time, give me 2,000 or whatever, give me a lot. Shmuel's father paskind, yochaliton ad kedei dmeyen. In other words, if the barley is worth 1,000, you can claim within the goat's worth that you're holding in your hands, you can claim 1,000 and you don't have to bring any proof. Yeah, in other words, we say migo, the same migo. I could have said, I bought the goats from you. Yeah, these goats, people sell goats, we buy and sell goats all the time, don't we? Yeah, and it's like buying and selling a car today, or I don't know, different items, yeah? So Mimela, since I could have said the goats are mine because I bought them, and look at you like a sheep, excuse the pun, yeah? And Mimela, now believe me that Beis Din should believe me, maybe not you, who cares? The Beis Din should believe me that these are collateral in my hands, and he should prove that the izim are not mine, yeah? We turn the tables, yeah? I'm not moitzim chaverot. He should take the izim away from me. The izim were his. Say thank you that I admit the izim were yours. Oh, are yours. And I'm holding this collateral. I could have said that they're mine and I bought them yesterday. Nobody saw when I chapped them in the middle of the night. So, and there, everyone agreed to that. Abaye too. So why does Abaye not believe in migo of the machzik of the holder over here? Well, over there we said that works. What's the difference between the knife over here and the goats over there? And says the Gemara, Hosam besiyata dishmai. We're getting there. Says the Gemara, there's a difference. Hosam over there. There's a third option. What did we say about different options before? Cooking, stewing, yeah. If I hold an item of yours and it says your name on it, assuming I'm not a thief, let's say nobody says that I'm a thief. Either it's a collateral, yeah, it says AR, AR, yeah, AR on a beautiful piece of, I don't know, of knife over there, and Mr. AR was the owner. I can say, you know, it's by me. I'm not a thief. Either you sold it to me, yeah. I could have said you sold it. I'm sorry, you sold it, and we're friends with no receipt. Or, so believe me about the second option. What's the second option? Yomi money. Yomi money. That's why I collateralized your beautiful knife. Hey, there's a third option. There's a third option of maybe I borrowed it. That breaks the migo. Migo only means what? Either one or two. It's a cruel game. If it's the third option, then no. Hosam over there, the migo works. Lav midi de abdul oshuli v'lo gurihu. People apparently, we don't live in an agricultural society, people do not borrow or hire or rent out goats. Goats are not for rent. Yeah, cows are. It's like rent a car, rent a truck, you know, you want to move stuff. But goats are not for rent. And therefore, over there, it's a cruel game. If it's in my hands, it's either because with your name on it, yeah, with your chazaka, either because I bought it, or I don't say I bought it. I'm very honest. I'm saying I collateralized it. There's no other option. Therefore, there it works. It's either or, migo, one or two. But hocha over here, midid ovid lo shuliv lo gurihu. Yeah, over here, no. It's something that is normal to be borrowed. In other words, I don't have a migo. Just because it's in my hands, I can't say, I could have said I bought it from you. No. Then you'd say back, no, you borrowed it from me. That would kill my migo. That's why it doesn't work. Abai is now winning the story, the choira. And the Abai proves his point. The Shalach Ravuna Bar Avin, Ravuna Bar Avin says the follows about something that is borrowable, something that people tend to lend. Items that people are likely to lend and to hire out, yeah, some things, books of library, yeah, things like that, yeah. The Omar Lekuchin and Beyodi, and the person says, I bought them. It has your name on it, and everybody knows up until yesterday it was yours, and I'm just saying, I bought it. I'm not believed. Why? Beyodi Enoneman. Obviously, he's not believed. Who says you bought it? Maybe you borrowed it. Yeah, I'm going to borrow your thing. Like, can you please lend me your pen? And I'll take it. And we're going to live in Sdom V'Amayro. Of course not. If the things are normally borrowed, I can't just say, just because it's in my hands, for sure it's mine, although we know it was up until now yours. No. Freg the Gemara, Abai is really making a lot of sense here. Freg the Gemara, V'Rove, now what's with Rove? V'Rove leis lehai svara. Rove himself, doesn't he believe that migo does not help with items that are normally being lent out? Because you can't just say, it's by me, meaning I bought it. No, maybe meaning it still belongs to the other side and you just borrowed it. Doesn't Rove believe in that? The Rove himself, as a Dayan, look what he did. He did something very, very controversial even. Apik Zuga de Sarbila, Rove took out from Yesoimim. Zuga de Sarbila is basically like, also a Zug, no. It's like scissors you use for clothes, to cut clothes. I think it means to cut clothes. What? Tailor scissors. Thank you. Thank you. The Sifra de Agadita, Sforim of Agada, Sforim, Sifra Kodesh, yeah, Sforim to learn from. He took them out of the hands miyasmi, which means what? B'dvorim asin la'ashelo lahaskir, which means there was a case of Yesoimim, yeah, the Yesoimim of the father. Usually we're very zealous, yeah, to what? To protect the rights of Yesoimim. There were Yesoimim who claimed they had items that another person said, Yesoimim, I feel very bad for you. Your father died at a young age. But Lamaisa, that item in your house belongs to me. And the Yesoimim says, no. If it's by us, it means it's ours. No, you can't say it's yours, because it's something that's normally borrowed. I lent you the book, or I lent you those scissors. So you're not believed to say it's yours, and definitely it's bought by you. It's not the only option, and surely it's not a good basis for amigo. And Rav himself believes in it. So why is Rav arguing about over here? And says the Gemara, no, here comes the punchline. very, very interesting. We're going to get the punchline. The machlokes between Rava and Abai is going to become very, very tiny. Says Rava, I agree with everything Abai says, except for one thing. Hi, Nami. I think, what's our case again? Remind me. Let's not get lost in the jungle over here. I have a jungle in my back here in the background. What is it, the story? What did he borrow? What is the story that he collateralized and he chopped from him? Knife. Ooh, a knife of chalif? Or even a professional knife of the cobbler? Hi, Nami, Kevin, the mipigma, because it's very easily, can be very easily be, get gum, can be, not tinted, no, can get, no, get a small dent, denture, nicked or dented, very or nicked, yeah. Kap the incheveloy moishli. Because people don't tend to lend it so generously. That's machlekes Abai and Rava. So let's summarize. It gets confusing. Let's summarize. The Bezos Hashem will get all clear. We finished the pack again. So everyone agrees that if I collateralized your thing, yeah, and I don't have to be now the misken. Why? I could have said that I bought it. If it's an item that people don't, yeah, right? If it's an item that people don't tend to lend, right? Mimela, what? It's not something you lend. What is it doing by me? I bought it. I could have said, listen, I bought it, right? Because I bought it. What's your problem? Say thank you that I'm honest with you, and that's amigo, and I'm admitting to the whole story of halva, and I'm admitting it's yours, and I just chopped it from you as a way to secure myself. Now I don't have to start giving aidim. The knife is by me. I'm holding the cards. You now, I'll swear and I'll take it from you and keep it, or you give me the money right away and I'll give you back the knife, right? This is what Abai says. And conceptually, Rava actually seems to agree with him. Yeah, Rava agrees with him in concept. The only question is really about the knife. Do people tend to lend the knife or don't they lend the knife? That's the idea. That's the idea. Because an item that you sometimes lend, then you don't have the migo. Because then it would say, because the other guy would say, what do you mean? I'm not saying thank you that you could have said it's bought. I would have said back that I lent it to you. That's a question. Is it something you lend or it's not something you lend? That's all. Thank you. And really, we are Bezos Hashem starting tomorrow, Kuf Design, the last parak, which is a short parak. See you tomorrow, Metzia Hashem. It's the Erev Chag. I appreciate anybody that comes and everybody that comes here and online and at home. And here is better, of course. It's very nice to see your smiley faces. And thank you for participation. And Metzia Hashem tomorrow. And then we meet again 2 days after Simchat Torah on Tuesday. No, on Monday. Monday after Simchat Torah, Bezos Hashem. Hatzlocha uvrocha. Thank you very, very much. We still have to brush up on machlokes Abai and Rava. Maybe tomorrow we'll get more clarity on exactly what Abai and Rava to argue about. It's not so clear to me yet myself, I have to admit, but we'll sharpen the knife tomorrow, Metzia Hashem, and then start the new parak. Thank you, Hatzlocha uvrocha. Thank you very, very much.